Michael, first and foremost, it's good to see you again, and thanks for coming to help us out today to share a bit more about what you're doing around technology and innovation. Maybe for the audience first, maybe you can share a couple words around what Bowtie does.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having me, Zane. Bowtie is Hong Kong's first online or virtual life insurer. So we're actually a fully licensed insurance company with the only difference that we don't sell through insurance agents on the ground, and we build our own tech stack. That's probably the biggest differentiator that we have.
Yeah, so within this space, then the use of technology is really important in terms of being able to get access to sort of the customers you're targeting, especially with the new sort of distribution model. What's the role of technology then in terms of achieving the different business goals and business outcomes you're trying to drive with?
Yeah, it's a good question. Maybe I'll take a step back first and give you a bit of a different perspective, historical perspective. So I'm actually an actuary by training, and insurance companies were actually one of the first companies to use computers, because insurance is a lot about number crunching and math. So when I talk to my mentors, they tell me, okay, they were the first generation that brought in mainframes to the commercial world to do a lot of number crunching. And it was kind of interesting to see that till this day, insurance companies are actually still stuck on that technology. So if you think of what an insurance company is, to the core of it, it is actually a technology company. It's a data crunching company. So the way we've seen it is that, okay, for various reasons, the processes and the technology has been stuck. It's actually a great opportunity for us now to come in and rebuild the technology.
So then when you are talking about rebuilding technology, we talked a bit about first the distribution channels, right? It's a sort of direct-to-consumer sort of model. You talked a bit about the actuarial sort of work you do as well too. What are the areas of technology that you're focused on then in terms of improving?
Yeah, so it's if you think about one of the first starting points is how does a customer find out about an insurance company, and then they actually have to start applying for insurance. So an area that we've done quite differently from traditional insurers is, can we actually do your health underwriting online? So can we determine whether or not you're eligible for insurance, for our insurance, purely through an online process? So fully automated, you're talking to our systems determine how healthy you are, what's the right premium for you. So in the traditional offline world, you typically have to go through a human underwriter. You'd have to go back and forth, go through some medical reports, answer some questions, and that can easily drag on for 2 weeks to a month. So it's really, for us, a consumer experience driven thing. It's a UX thing. So consumers want to know how much is it going to cost me, am I covered or not online directly, immediately. So it's really that consumer demand where we've had to rebuild an online underwriting engine so consumers can use our engine and get an answer within 5 minutes. And actually, for most people, it's within 3 minutes, you can actually get the final quotation from us.
You're using technology to drive different experiences and changes from a business perspective. How do you align technology-driven initiatives with the business outcomes that you're looking to achieve?
For us, there's no single answer to that. It's been a process for us. I think we started off as a startup. So when you're at 10 people, it's actually very simple to align that. I think we're at a stage where we launched with 30-something, 40 people. Now we're at close to 50 people. So it is actually becoming increasingly hard to align priorities. So one thing that we're trying to do now, as well as it's a new experiment, is choose what we call OKRs, so objectives and key results. And the idea is to give everyone a very clear objective that everyone can rely on. You actually spend quite a lot of time discussing these objectives as a team. And then based on that, everyone is then, I guess, loosely coupled to drive to those objectives. But it is a new process for us even.
Yeah, I think sometimes with the OKR process as well, there's often this discussion of big, hairy, audacious goals. Yeah. But when you do that, often you're driving outcomes that you might only be able to actually complete 75% of the time for. Yes. But as a technology-driven company, can you accept that sort of?
Yeah, it's almost not just a technology, but another interesting part is we're highly regulated. So for an insurance company to admit that you're not at 100%, that's actually scary for a lot of insurance company people, a lot of people that come from the industry. For us, I think if I look back, our first quarter towards setting up the company, we're very successful. Our second quarter to do, after you've launched everything we've achieved, we've actually come below our own expectations, but that's actually okay. So one thing that we've told our team is that it's okay to admit mistakes. It's okay to not always be perfect. We intentionally set these goals to be very ambitious. As an insurance company, as a team with a lot of actuaries on the team, as a team who's investors in another insurance company, we are by nature, I think we have a tendency to be very conservative. But I think our role as a new technology company, as a new virtual insurer using new technology, it's also our responsibility to actually set higher goals and push the team to try harder. So it comes down to communication and admitting that when we don't achieve our goals, it's actually okay. So we'll tell our team that, okay, we will evaluate ourselves. We'll look back on the last quarter and we'll say, we maybe only achieved 60% of our goals, and that's fine. It's actually a comfortable position to be in.
Now, you would have had to submit a business plan to the regulator as part of this process. You know, are there scenarios where, for example, you can't meet or address regulatory requirements, and you know, how do you address those?
The regulator understands that your business plan is necessarily imperfect. It's a new venture. They want to try something new. There's no really past experience to go on. What we did with them is we gave them a lot of different scenarios. So we played through a lot of scenarios in a lot of detail. We've showed them that we've thought through what could happen, and if those things happen, what can we do? And then the other part is actually, as you start running, we actually give them regular updates. So they know how we're doing. They know how we're doing versus plan. If there's deviations, we explain it. We tell them what we want to do next. And it's that closer communication that I think gives them a lot more comfort.
You know, kind of a leading question, but we did a lot of work around interaction with the regulator together. You know, maybe if you can, maybe share how AWS helped you and has helped you, not just maybe on the technology side, but in other areas.
Yeah. So one thing we definitely worked on together was the enterprise agreement. And in the enterprise agreement, I don't know if there's public knowledge, but we actually had to share that also with the regulator. They actually had to look at it in pretty close detail to understand where the regulator's rights and protections are in this whole setup. Because they come from a very traditional background where they want to know, okay, your computers are there, I can go in, I can see what's happening to your computers. And then in a cloud environment, that is a bit of a paradigm shift. It requires a bit of a mindset shift. So I think together what we did a lot of was that communication and education on actually this setup is to the benefit of the regulator. But it does require that education. And I'm really glad that AWS was working with us on that.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see as well. And you know, I was just checking my emails before our discussion today, and you know, we first chatted, you know, just about a year ago, and you guys launched Bowtie, you know, early in 2019 as well. So the pace at which you're able to actually build and develop this business is absolutely amazing, from business case through to regulatory approval, through to licensing, through the launch. I think a lot of people would want to know, how do you make sure that the organization can work as quickly as you have to be able to really build something which I think is absolutely phenomenal?
Yeah, I think, so one thing I've kind of learned is, not just us, but a lot of large companies, you are becoming software companies, and software does move at a very fast pace because it's possible to change code out very fast. So when you're a software company, what do you need? You need good infrastructure, and you need a good developer experience. So AWS was one way where we were able to use that infrastructure very cleanly. If we were to build our own data server, data farms, etc., we would not have been able to launch, you know, I think we got our authorization in December, and then we launched April 1st. So pretty much 3 months, right? So if you're building your own actual physical infrastructure, it's not possible to do that. It's just simply not possible. So having that infrastructure, having good developer tools for our developers to build, that's very helpful. The second part, in terms of working with the regulator, it's giving them that comfort. So do you have strong shareholders? Do you have a strong technology partner? Do you have direct communication? So we were in very close communication with the regulators. So having all those elements, I think, just speeds up the process.
Yeah, again, really phenomenal. As you look in the future right now, sort of what technology areas interest you, or what are you looking, without of course giving away what your secret sauce is going to be, but what sort of, you know, is on your mind looking at the future?
I think there's probably two pieces. One is, obviously we've invested a lot in our underwriting engine. So it's a fully online underwriting engine. People can get a quote directly. To us, that gives people that user experience that you expect of this internet age. But if you look beyond it, the technology can be very sophisticated and it can be very simple. Ultimately, it's a lot of how do you embed a lot of business knowledge, business logic into your business processes. So that's one piece. The second piece is, I think there's a lot more people using wearables. So in the health insurance space, we keep talking about prevention, wellness. You know, we want to be aligned with our policyholders longer term. They're healthier, we make more money. It's not very good, but that process, that discussion has been going on for a long time. And I think we're kind of finally reaching that tipping point where enough people are tracking their own data. And if you look at the data that's being generated, the patterns in there are much richer than what the medical communities historically had. So the opportunities of that being integrated with insurance, I think, are huge. But I think we're really only touching the tip of the iceberg there.
Well, thanks, Michael, for spending time with us today and sharing your experiences around actually developing Bowtie, getting it launched, and also a bit of a vision into the future as well too. So thanks very much.